Yo, my tribe. We here, baby. Honest Moments Podcast, episode 1. Finally here. Y'all been waiting for it. Y'all probably haven't, but I have. Anyways, we here, man. Honest Moments Podcast. This podcast is gonna be pretty interesting, man. Not what you expect. Maybe what you expect, maybe not. I'm not sure. But it's gonna cover a lot of different things. So, cover my background. Being married, being divorced, being single, navigating the new single scene, having a child at a distance, co-parenting, talking phases, situationships. Who likes those? No one does. But we fall into those somehow, some way. But how to get out of those, I'm gonna navigate that too, and how to not run into that rut, and how to not waste time. Why? We can't get back time that we spend on anyone, right? So we should definitely invest it the right ways. Everyone likes to entertain people though. So hey, some of y'all out there may love entertaining people and just spending people's time, but guess what? You know what? I'm not the one for those games. So let's get into it. Episode 1. This podcast is all about that. Like I said, honest moments. My honest moments from my perspective. What I've learned, what I've experienced, what I wanted to share with you guys to maybe hopefully help somebody that's like me in a similar spot. You may resemble or find some identity or find some resemblance in what I've gone through, my experiences, right? I think at the end of the day, we're all much more alike than we are so different. We all kind of prefer the same things. What do we prefer? Someone that's consistent, someone that's intentional, someone that is just honestly just themselves, right? They can actually present themselves to you and really continue that same identity, right? Not change up, not do different things, not start acting different, moving different, looking very suspicious. They're like, why are they changing up now? It's been 3 months, right? Now you want to show me your true character? It's been 6 months. Now you want to show me you a little bit not consistent with who you present yourself to be? We all want to find that we all look for that person, right? And we all look for that in someone. So this is about that. Helping people navigate being your true authentic self after facing heartbreak, facing, divorce, being broken up with, right? But from my perspective, this is what I've gone through, right? So give you my backstory. I am 27 years old. I'm born and raised in the Midwest, Springfield, Illinois, 217. Stand up. Always hold it down for the city. That's my place I love, man. So, but I actually moved to Florida, Orlando here, actually about almost 2 years, 2 years ago now. And I moved here with my ex-wife and my daughter at the time. So we were living in Chicago. We actually met out in Chicago. I'll give you our backstory too and how that happened, how I got married and got divorced, and just so you know where I'm coming from with my experiences, right? My ex and I, we met at 22 years old. I was 21, she was 22. We met, got engaged within 3 months, got married within that same year. So about 9-10 months of knowing each other from scratch, nothing, to 10 months or 11 months, right? Of meeting and got married. 2 months into marriage, got pregnant with our daughter, right? Never took time to really become, more than, I guess you could say, friends, right? We never dated, never really courted. It was really from like 0 to 100 very, very quickly. And that was off a lot of immaturity, which I'll get into here in a little bit. We both definitely I thought I was very, very mature, just because I was around people who was mature too. And I thought, you know what? I could handle life. I'm good, right? I'm getting myself figured out. I got a little confidence for no reason because I hadn't earned anything at all. I hadn't even figured out how to take care of myself really by myself. So it was all like a false sense of confidence that I didn't even know I was living with, but I was living with it though, right? So ended up getting married, got pregnant, got our daughter, and then, from there, we didn't realize how fast time was really moving. And so what happened was we just become in this situation of figuring out the next phase, right? Without realizing we hadn't gone through proper phases of being together anyway, of how to be friends, how to communicate, how to actually love each other. Do we actually love each other? Are you my type? Am I your type? I'm not really sure, but we're here together, but let's just figure this out. Why? Because we got married and we don't believe in divorce because of what society says divorce looks like, of the stigma it puts on a person, right? And on people, that if you've been divorced, then you're a failure in some sense, right? And as a black man in America, you've been divorced, now you got a kid. Oh, now you're a statistic. You gotta do all that stuff, right? And so I had to navigate through all of that, all of those mental barriers and those stigmas that was put on me subconsciously, right? No one actually said that to me, but it was a message that I heard repeatedly, right? So navigating through those waters, I had to do, right? But I think one thing that I learned too with my ex and I, with my past relationship that I was when I was married, like, understand, the marriage should never happen. Should have never happened. We were two good friends that should have never gotten married. And then also, I didn't know how to distinguish between infatuation with the idea of marriage and the idea of loving someone versus actually loving them and what it takes to actually love someone, right? And the right person. You can love people all day. We can love people all day. Love is a choice and an emotion, right? But love does not sustain you for 37 or 55 years of marriage in your life, of happiness. Love is not enough. It's not what it takes. It's a choice. And that person you choose to love, I believe, needs to be right for you. And you right for them. In a lot of the areas, majority of, if not all of them, majority of them, you need to be right for them. And they need right for you too. I don't believe you should compromise at all when you marry someone. You shouldn't say, oh, man, they're great in this area, that area, that area, that area. But you know what? A couple other areas, they cool, they all right, right? You compromise. Because I believe that's when you have gaps. That's when things can go left real quick. And you, at some point in time, 25 years later, may not feel satisfied or confident or content with what you have because you compromised. I don't believe in that. But at the time, I didn't know that either. I had no perspective. I had no awareness in myself. I was 21 years old when I met my ex. So when I got married, I was very, very naive, man. Right? I was very new to life. So for me, navigating that, I had no time or perspective to do that. If you're over 25, I hope you take your time to understand that. If you're under 25, you can mess up. You have time to figure it out. But I hope if you hear this, you take time to slow down and really understand that you need some more sense of awareness. And not from people that you know, not from mentors or from podcasts. Like, no, you need your own perspective at some level and experience, right? I took a lot of people that I knew, their advice, that were older than me, that had perspective and a lot of influence in my life before, that really got me. I made some very rushed decisions without having discernment. And you gotta discern between, like, okay, this person is giving me their advice and their suggestions from their own mess ups, right? Or their own, just their personal experience. But guess what? Their personal experience, I'm a different person than they are. I'm very, very different than they are. So should I value it, or should I just listen to it and just say, okay, cool, thanks for your suggestion, but I'm gonna go figure this out and mess up on my own, because I have to. Because if I don't, at least in this area, I won't know any better, right? So anyways, fast forward, man, got married, was married for 3 years, living in Chicago, and our daughter's now 3, so we actually decided to move to Florida together, just to get some space and some clarity, to really be alone, away from our family, not feel like we have to go see our family every single weekend. And we were here for a year, and that gave us time by ourselves to really just be alone and figure out the direction we wanted to go, not just as a couple, but as a family with our daughter, and just really navigate. Like, the elephant in the room is that we knew early on that the marriage was like, it shouldn't have happened. But since we both didn't believe in divorce, navigating like, how we have discussion about divorce, like, should we do it or should we not? The fear of what might happen from divorce, right? Being alone again, being single again. Like, we weren't really like single before, but like, because when you're young, I don't know, it's just different. But we're 20, now we're 25 and 26, and it's like, being single now is totally different. It's kind of like a fear you have in your mind, you make up for yourself, right? So navigating that mental barrier. And so what happened was, we were living in Florida for a year, and my ex comes to me and say, I think we should separate. She initiated it, right? But we both knew, like, obviously the marriage was really, it was done, right? It was done. We didn't want to be together. I believe that if you want to be together with somebody, work it out. If y'all both want to work it out, because it can be resolved. If you both agree on that, you can figure it out all day. It's very simple, because you're on the same page. When you both don't, when one of you wants to and one of you don't, that's when you gotta be real with yourself in a lot of different ways, right? So with us though, my past, I wasn't her type, she's not my type. And that's what it came down to, is that, look, we're great friends, but great partners in a marriage? Nah, we're not that. I'm not the one that's for you. I'm just who I am and how I am and how you are. And look, understand, you may not change into ways that I want you to be as a woman, as a partner for me. And I may not be that dude for you that's gonna, I guess, be how you want me to be. Just not. Right? And so accepting that was important. Accepting the fact that I know what I need, what I want in a woman, and what I need from my partner and my woman, and that how she is naturally that's just not going to happen. So I can't keep living or hoping that she may change over time. You can't do that, because then you're wasting your time, her time, and you're not allowing yourself. You're not giving your best of yourself. You're not getting the best of yourself, because you're always looking for hoping that they're going to change, and you can't change anyone at all. You can't. You cannot. And nor can they change you either. So when she brought up separation, I had never been one to agree with separating. I didn't see a point in, one of us living, or we living separate from each other but being married still, because we're figuring things out. I don't see the point in that. Maybe some of y'all that listen to this right now have had success in that. I don't understand that though. So maybe you can give me some insight into how that actually works successfully and why you do it in the first place, right? My take on marriage was like, I'm a 90s like hopeless romantic dude. Like, yo, when you love someone, you love them, you with them, they're your best friend. Like, you can talk about anything in the world. Y'all can laugh, play, cry, fight sometimes, but just be real and just have a good time together, right? And just enjoy each other's presence, right? So that's how I saw marriage, and that's not how mine went. And when I realized that, my peace is off every single day more than it's on, right? I don't have peace every single day. She doesn't either. All right. So when she brought up separating, I was like, you know what? My immediate response was said, when we separate, we should get divorced. Elephant in the room. We should get divorced. We both don't want to face it. We're both afraid of it. But I had enough time to myself, by myself, that past year in Florida. Like, the reality is, like, bro, look, what you want versus what she may want, and who you are is, I'm not her type and she's not mine. So why try to wait down the road because my daughter, she's important. Like I want her to have the best side of me and her mother. But if we're not good for each other, then she's not getting the best of either one of us. And it's not right. It's not fair to her or ourselves to allow ourselves to be not the best for the sake of raising a child. That's not fair. So anyways, that discussion was had, and she said separate. I said no, we should get divorced. And from that moment on, that, mind you, when divorce is brought up, like I said, it's never sudden. Both of you know what's going on in the relationship, right? So I'm gonna touch on 10 points, right? 10 points on really how to navigate divorce. Number one, how to have the discussion. It may be sporadic or it may be planned. However, you have to have it. If you know you're not right for someone and they're not right for you, be real with yourself first. Because when I brought up divorce, I saw the pressure in her face and the weight off of my shoulders drop. Like, it was a freedom. Like, oh man, we finally like addressed the elephant in the room, right? And from there we navigated. Okay, where we go next? How to have the discussion. I think it takes over time. You gotta just continuously be transparent with each other too. Start being real with yourself first, to be real with your partner. And then, what's discussed in that? Like, what do you talk about after you bring up divorce? I don't believe you should have gray area. I don't think divorce is something you bring up casually. It's not something that you approach casually, or you approach with a naivety. Like, you don't just say it because you want to hurt someone or get back at them. No, you don't say it out of emotion. You say it out of logic and reasoning. Because if you do it out of emotion, that emotion is going to change. If you don't mean that, don't ever bring that up. I never brought up divorce before that. Never. Not in an argument, not in a heated discussion. Like, no. I may leave the crib and go on a walk, but I was never going to bring up divorce, because divorce is final. It's no gray area there. It's no let's work things out. No, if I brought that up, it's done. It's done. Why? That's where we're at. That's where I've realized that this is at right now. I'm not for you. You're not for me. That's the basis of it. Not that I don't have a lot of love for you as a mother to my daughter. You got love for me too as her father. But understand, as a partner in a marriage, that's not what we're going to do. We're not good for each other. So understanding that. Now going from there, what needs to be discussed, point number 2, discuss everything. Like I said, the tether was broken before we discussed divorce in regards to intimacy, our physical attachment to each other, mental attachment. All that stuff was detached before we discussed divorce. So when it came to what's being discussed next, it's simple. Hey, if you find someone in this process of our divorce that you began talking to, or I do too, I'm not offended by that. I'm not bothered by that. Why? Because there's no attachments from me to you or you to me but our daughter. That's the priority. And what made it simple was the fact that we both mutually respect each other on that level too, and understood that. I had respect for her, and she had respect for me, right? So what's the priority? Not each other, it's our daughter. When she's good, we got her as a priority. Everything else is fine, right? Now I gotta trust her to have good judgment on who she's gonna talk to, if she does, and her trust me too. Because why? Who wants to have someone that they used to be involved with bring a new person around their kid, right? Not that you do that soon anyway. You better have discernment over that as well. That's important. But if it happens, understand, you gotta trust that person to basically just be mature and be smart about that. So what needs to be discussed is that going forward, moving out, separating, living different places. What happened? I picked a place right around the corner from where my daughter and my ex was at because it was convenient for both of us to take her to school, drop her off, pick her up, go to ballet, whatever she was involved in at the time. Like, it was all convenient, right? I didn't need to move across the state because I wanted to stay here in Florida, in my city where I'm at, because I love where I'm at, right? And I wanted to be convenient for my daughter and myself to spend time together too, and co-parent to make it easy for everyone involved, right? So that was my decision because it just made sense. But however you want to do it, move how you want to move. But I think what's convenient for all of y'all is the best thing, right? Especially when you're not attached to that person, it makes it a lot easier to make your decisions that way. So that was my decision on obviously to do. So the discussion needs to be had. Like I said, being single, talking to other people, respecting that about that person. You got to respect the person. That's a very, very important thing. There's no respect there, that's when things can get very, very messy, especially with the child involved too. Like I said, there's one person that wants to get separated or divorced, and one person that doesn't. Man, things can go left real quick. I've seen it happen. I haven't had it happen to myself, but I've seen it happen that way. So, I don't know if things can be reconciled between y'all or figured out, and you don't really want to get divorced. Don't even mention divorce. Don't mention it. Don't. Could we have gone to therapy? Of course, we didn't want to. It was that simple. We didn't want to. Am I an advocate for therapy? Yeah, I really am. I think marriage is great. Not divorce, but therapy is great too. If you can figure it out and work it out. There's definitely ways to do that. So, but for mine, we didn't want to. So it was very, very simple to do. But number 3, how do you know when your relationship is over? How do you know when the marriage is over, when the relationship is just done, and when you should just cut your losses? I think number 1 with that, right? Accept cutting your losses. Accept the fact that, hey, I may have lost this. Like, I may have messed this up. Like, this is not what I planned. I gotta accept, for one, that it is what it is, and I can start over. Why? My life is not over from this. But how do you know when? I mean, like I said from before, when your peace is not there, right? When you're having more unpeaceful moments than you are peaceful moments at all, like the whole time, this is not working out. When you have different views on how to raise a child or lifestyle, travel, living, location, a lot of different variables in there. Faith, that can be one too. There's a lot of red flags that we turn different colors because we don't want to address the truth, right? You got to be real with ourselves from the jump. And being real with yourself and honest with you I think the first step. I had to be honest with Greg. Be honest with me. When I was able to drive or go on a walk and talk to myself out loud, I could hear my own thoughts and get clarity over what I needed to do. Even though it wasn't comfortable, I could talk to friends that I had or family that I have too, right? Well, Greg, what if I don't have that? You don't need that. Talk to yourself. Well, dang, I don't talk to myself enough. Okay, listen to a podcast. I don't like podcasts. Well, damn it. At some point, you need to be real with you. You got to be real with yourself on a very vulnerable level. If you can't be vulnerable with yourself, you cannot be vulnerable with the person that you're in relationship with. You can't. Be vulnerable with you. Be comfortable being vulnerable and being very transparent with yourself. As much and as ugly as it may sound at times, you have to do that to be able to actually get forward with someone that you're with, so they can actually understand the real and transparent and authentic you. right? So that's when you know it's over. Like I said, your peace is not there daily and consistently. That could be a personal thing, but it also could be you find pet peeves or you find things that are very irk you with the person you're with as well, that you know they're not your type and they're not for you. It could be that too. So it's a process, right? Now, number 4, how do you know how to act? Like, how do you act once you've discussed divorce? Like, how do you move? Do you move like a single person? Do you move like a married person or a separated person? How do you act, right? What do you do? Well, like I said, if there's no attachment there, you can move how you need to. You do what's best. I think the best thing that I did what was best for myself, my ex, and my daughter. Why? Because it made things a lot easier, right? I didn't stay in the house, and no, I went. Honestly, I worked from home, so it was convenient for me to actually leave and go live with my family for a little bit, for like a month, I think, for like a month or like 3 weeks, something like that. I lived with them before, so I could move to my new place. I could move into it for like 6 more weeks. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go live here with, it just happened that way, right? I was there for a month in Springfield until I could move into my new place, and then brought out my furniture and just did that. Because why? I couldn't be roommates, sleeping on the couch, and no, that's not healthy, right? Once you discuss divorce, one of y'all gotta leave. One of y'all should leave, because it's just gonna become toxic, especially with the kid involved too. It can become toxic very, very quickly because you're no longer together. You're navigating now being separate and finding your own identities outside of each other in the family, right? You gotta be separate for a bit. Separate. That's how you should move. Do you go dating somebody else? That's not what you should do. When you're newly single, newly getting divorced, we'll get to that, right? We'll get to that. But number 5, am I divorced when I'm legally divorced, or when a discussion is had and the discussion is final? Like I said, don't bring divorce up if it's a gray area. If you're debating divorce, don't even mention it. But if divorce is for you, if that's something like it's on your heart, like, yo, we shouldn't be together, or separating, if separating or divorce is like, yo, what you need to do, then bring it up. If it's not, don't bring it up, right? But are you legally divorced? From my situation, was I legally divorced when it was signed on documents? In my mind, yes. Mentally, like, yes, for sure, like, yes. That's when it's legally done, right? But are you to act? How do you act when you're not legally divorced? Honestly, if you meet someone, you're talking to somebody, man, in that process, and you're getting divorced, there's no going back to your ex. Honestly, maybe be honest with the person. Be open with them. Be honest. Why? Why would you not? Just be real with the person. That's what I did. Whoever I met in a talking stage or talking to before I was legally signed documents to be divorced, which actually happened 2-3 months anyway, it's very fast. I just told him what was up. Look, yo, this is our relationship. Finishing my divorce. That's it. And even still, when you meet someone off the bat, if you meet someone, in a month of getting separated or divorced, you need to bring that up off the, man, honestly, you need to have emotional maturity and deal with your own trauma in a lot of ways, right? There's a such thing as saying way too much too soon. Yes, that can freak somebody out, because like you bouncing from being with that person for multiple years and now you talking to me. Yo, your trauma pattern is way too recent. You ain't even healed yet, right? I need someone that's worked through their process and worked through their trauma. That's a very real thing. Work through your trauma. You have to. So, in terms of how do you move, or are you legally divorced or whatever before things are signed and completely, understand, man. I think from my perspective, from what I did, I was just open and honest, right? And I didn't go looking to date somebody right off the bat. Didn't. I took my time. I took my time for me, right? I took my time to be alone. Why? Because I needed to learn myself. I need to find my identity as a father, as a man, as a single person too. You gotta find yourself. Give time for yourself. And I mean time, like real time. Like real time. Not a couple days, a couple weeks. No, real time alone. To just be you, right? You need to do that too. So the legally divorced thing, are you legally divorced when things are signed? look, man, or discussed, you're divorced. If you mean it, you're divorced. All right, that simple. Don't leave in gray area. Okay, don't leave in gray area at all. So number 6, how do you act when there's a child involved? Simple, right? The kid comes first. You and your partner don't matter to each other. What matters is your child, their lifestyle, their comfort, their security, and knowing that, hey, my parents aren't together every day, but they're healthy in communication. They don't see drama, they don't see toxicity, they don't see headaches, they don't see none of the stress, none of it behind. They don't see any of that. Let whatever's going on with you and your partner, when y'all separate and getting divorced and there's a kid involved, let that be happening behind closed doors, where obviously your kid doesn't see any of that. I'm sure at some point in time, we've all experienced our parents fighting and arguing at some point in time, and we was like, dang, like that's, or we saw it on TV too, right? When it was like, oh, I would hate to be that kid. Don't let it be your kid hating to be themselves. So we need to get figured out. Do behind closed doors, all right? When the child is involved, and make that child a priority for both of y'all. At the end of the day, that's all that matters is the kids' safety, security, and well-being. So number 7, right? How to get rid of other people and society's stigmas about divorce or separating too, right? And when you have a kid involved, how do you get rid of the stigmas that's put on you subconsciously by the world? You honestly gotta have this thing in your mind that says, fuck it. Why? Because at the end of the day, no one else matters but you. And what I mean by that is, no one has any control or a button on your life to control the direction of your life but yourself. How anybody else sees you, knows or doesn't know you, does not matter. Everyone always sees the outward reflection of who we want them to see. But no one sees the inward struggles that we go through every single day, right? So people see what they want to see, right? But at the end of the day, their opinion of you really doesn't matter. Society's opinions of me being a black man, divorced, now I'm single, I'm a statistic. Damn, I missed it. No, I didn't miss it. I had to say forget them. I had to forget about all of that. Why? Because they don't matter. They don't matter at all. All that matters is how I see me. And if I see myself as a king, you see yourself as a king too or a queen, understand. That can't be taken from you at all. It's all that matters. Just be true to you. Do what's true to you. And when I decided to get divorced, that was true to me. And it was final. And I wasn't debating that. Because it was the best thing that I know for me, I needed to do. Let me free myself and my ex from this burden we got on ourselves of not wanting to face what we feared in regards to divorce. And this needs to happen for the both of us to be the best we can be for our kid and ourselves. So, fuck it. Number 8. Check this out. How do you be single after separating or divorce? Like how? How to be single? You gotta figure it out. Especially when you're with someone for years and now you're newly single. You gotta navigate every direction of like, man, should I go to a dating app? What should I do? Go to it if you want to. Try it out. Go to it. But you're gonna really realize really soon the difference between entertaining people and actually being ready to talk or date someone. You're not ready yet. So how should you be single afterwards, after dating someone for years? You need to be alone. Now that time you spend alone, it can be a month, it can be 3 weeks, it can be 4 months, it can be 6 months, it can be a whole year. Who knows? That time is all on you. But that time is totally dependent upon how intentional you are in that process. Are you intentional when you're talking to someone? Texting them, find them on a dating app, find them in public, meet them in person? Are you intentional with it? What's your intentions? Do you want to just talk to them, become just friends with the opposite sex? Or just friends with them? Or are you looking to date them again? Date them, someone new. Are you willing to put that time and investment into getting to know them again, right? Or that new person without processing your own trauma? What's your intentions? So from my experience, what I did, I deliberately went to meet. I wanted to meet women. Like I wanted to meet women friends and just be cool with them. I didn't have any intention of dating them. Let's just be cool. Why? I'm not ready to date. I don't want to commit myself to anybody. I was just married for 4.5, 5 years. I don't want to. No, I'm good. I'm fine by myself. I need to be with me, right? That's just me. You don't need to be with anyone, in my opinion, at all after a relationship, which is easier said than done, because you can fall into situationships, you can fall into talking phases, but when you're intentional with it, you don't fall into that kind of stuff. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. That's how I got. Honestly, that's how I got married. I fell into it. It just kind of happened, and I just went with it and like went on what I felt because it felt good. That feeling's gonna fade, right? When you're mature emotionally, you don't fall into that stuff. You don't. So with me being single, when I started being single again, I was just talking to people, just talking, right? Getting conversation going, learning how to communicate and converse, laugh, be me, be myself. But what also helped me is the fact that I didn't care. I didn't care what they said, how they saw me, how they viewed me, if they responded, if they laughed back. Yo, women, I don't care. I can be emotionally detached. Why? For one, being emotionally detached preserves yourself from getting hurt, preserves yourself from feeling way too much, way too soon. It preserves yourself from talking to someone for 2 weeks and letting your mind think it's been 2 months. Oh, and now you're dating them and they're not dating you. Vice versa. You have to be emotionally detached. If you don't do that, you will continually be hurt. Consistently be hurt. You can be vulnerable but be detached. Have a mind open to everything but attached to your peace and your mental. You have to. It's important. So a lot of people get attached to people way too soon because you haven't experienced enough life or relationships at all, or not even just experience, but you haven't processed what you've gone through. Process your trauma. When you process how trauma happened, why it happened, what you felt from it, how you want to avoid it next time. When you process it, like truly process that stuff, man, you become bulletproof. You become a Joker card in a whole deck. You become emotionally mature. So I was able to actually just talk to women and just talk 5, 6 at a time. Just talk to them. Not every day, once a week. Talk to one once a week, another once a week. Like just talk to them consistently because I didn't care. I wasn't looking to date you right away or date you at any point in time. If it happened, it wasn't just gonna happen to me. It wasn't gonna be on an accident. It'll be on purpose. I'm not gonna just fall into this, right? Honest moments. That may be a player? No, because guess what? Understand the game. Whatever I'm doing to them, they're doing to me too. I gotta assume that, and I gotta expect that too, and be okay with it. So what? Why do I care? I'm getting to know this person. I'm getting to know them as a friend. That's it. It'd be different if I met them and wanted to date them right away. Now that's a problem. That's called crazy. Just being honest. That's emotionally immature. And we gotta be mature about these situations because if not, we'll just keep hurting ourselves. Right? We'll keep getting more trauma on our own. You don't want that. So that's how to be single after you get separated or divorced. Take time for yourself, right? Take time for yourself. Don't rush into something new. You don't need to. Number 9. When should you start? Like the timeline to start dating again after you've been with someone for a while, become newly single. That's like I said. It's all on you. It's all on you to decide that, determine that. I think honestly, I dated someone. 7 months after? 8 months after my divorce? Right? 8 months. It's a good timeline. I was single. I did a lot in that process though for myself that I felt comfortable dating someone exclusively. Like, yo, let's date. Right? I think your vibe is dope. My vibe is dope. Let's connect and let's keep this going. We became actually really good friends in that process of us just becoming friends. And so it was actually very healthy. So I felt comfortable doing that. That's not everybody though, right? So I think it's all on you taking time for yourself and being intentional with your time that you spend alone. Take that time alone. Enjoy that time alone. Have a blast with it, but be specific about what you spend on it, and how you use it for sure. So, and then as far as time goes, I learned so much from my past about time. Really taking things very slowly, which is why I'm so excited about when I meet someone, if I ever do, like, yo, let's just be cool. Let's just connect. You know? That's all we gotta do is connect. I ain't going from 0 to dating. Nah, that's not how this works. That's not how that works, man. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm be open with you. But time is very important. Ain't nobody falling in love tomorrow. Nah. And naturally, like myself, I know I'm very vulnerable. My vulnerability is also a weakness and a strength. I'm aware of that, right? But it's more of a strength than a weakness is, to be honest. Why? Because I can tell you my whole story and be real with you up front, and that allows me to be open with you. And it opens that person up too. But that also becomes, for people who aren't actually open like that, it can become their weakness, because now they're open with me when they don't really open up like that. But also, it's like, well, how do you connect with people then? Because everyone you met before me has really actually been very surface level then. To be straightforward, like, let's just be real. Being real is the best way to live our lives. So be real with yourself though. Take your time for yourself. Like I said, if you're dating someone, you're separating, thinking about it, you're divorced, getting divorced, be real with yourself first. Be honest with you. That's the first step to all of it. Be honest with you. When you're honest with yourself, you can be honest with your partner too. So my story is unique in the sense that I met my ex, got engaged within 3 months, married within 9-10 months of meeting each other, pregnant with 2 months later after marriage. Very unique, right? Got divorced, a healthy divorce. Didn't have drama attached to it. Didn't have any ugly mess attached to it. Our daughter's happy, healthy. I'm able to see her every 6 weeks in Illinois. I'm there. So how that happened though was being very real with myself, with my ex, about the reality of like our relationship, and not faking it, not wasting each other's time, right? Not trying to fix things that we know, like, yo, I'm not your type, you're not my type. If you are each other's type, work it out. If it's minor stuff you can have fixed, fix it. I didn't cheat on her, she didn't cheat on me. Like, no, we weren't good fit for each other at all. We just weren't that. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be this big thing like, oh, who cheated on who? Nah, It wasn't a money issue. Like, nah, it wasn't any of that. Of what naturally happens with people. No. We just realized in a very short time, we're not the right one for each other at all. And so, if you want that for your partner, they're not that for you, talk to them. Talk to them. One of y'all should bring it up. One of y'all should, before time is wasted. So, this episode 1, Honest Moments, I'm going to cut it here because we got more coming for y'all. Alright? This season's going to be crazy. I'm going to hit y'all up again next Friday. Episodes dropping every Friday. Stay tuned. And we'll keep this thing rolling, man. Honest Moments. It's me, your boy, Greg. We talking everything: relationships, love, hurt, trauma, single, situationships, talking phases, all of that. Let's get through it. Unpack it, baby.